Super. But really difficult actually to try and come up with an idea for today because there's so many different things you could do. I am a complete and utter Twitter and Pinterest magpie. So a lot of the stuff on here has come from other people. I've been sat on a Saturday night on Twitter and found some ideas to put on something else. So I thought I'd go with sources, as it's something obviously we all do, and it's something the students in the school maths at the minute really struggle with. When I started at the school a couple of years ago, they only had an hour a week at Key Stage 3 for history, so trying to build those skills up has been a real challenge. We quite often use this at the start of a lesson to see how they feel about the topic, and I've got the magnets that will stick to my whiteboard, and we take photos of it. And the second I mentioned sources, we have a variety of faces pulled around the room, some of which we have a lot of the confused face. Some of them seem quite happy about it, and others just sit there going, oh, what are we going to do? And we found quite a few challenges, really, the ones that we all have. Trying to ask quality questions of the sources, and that's not me asking the quality questions, that's getting students to ask the quality questions. Trying to write their extended answers, and making sure they understand the question. There's no good being able to analyse the source if they then write an absolute load of nonsense in their answer. And we do have a phrase in our classroom that they're not to do a knowledge vomit because they just spew everything out that they don't write the source, and it's absolutely useless. Usefulness and reliability and putting them into context are all things that we've been working on. So, a few things we've tried over the last couple of years. First one being source overlay. So I started with the question matrix that comes from John Sayer. I saw this on Pinterest. Fabulous idea for geographers to look at clouds, although it does make me laugh that there are no clouds in that picture that's actually with the kid at the top. Putting the two together, I made these little source overlays. Dead simple, printed off, cut out, laminated. But what it means is that instead of having to print a ton of sources off in colour to use in class, you can use them over your textbooks. So we've used them in lots of different ways. Sometimes we use them to form the questions, sometimes we use them to annotate the sources. So in a lesson we might get one group of students on the table to actually set the questions by circling the words around the side. Another set of students might then annotate them. A third set of students then might mark the first two for the quality of their answers, but also for the quality of their annotations. So we've used these quite a lot with various topics, compare sources as well. They wipe off reasonably well, but as with laminated stuff, you have to don't wipe them off straight away. If you leave it, the absolutes weld into it. So we've tried those, but then we also like the overlay idea, so we've been using it for actually forming their questions as well. So point, evidence, explaining, linking, what sources they're going to do, and what they're going to include in their actual answers. We also have a lot of hands. I wave at my class frequently. If it's a how far question, they know I'm going to stand at the front of the room with two little laminated hands waving at them until they actually get that it's a two-sided answer. I've even seen GCSE students sat in their paper exam doing this to themselves. Because but they've remembered, so it's fine. My next favourite one, pie chart for a head. Some of you may have seen this. I love doing this. I use it for so many different things, but what it does mean is that you can take photos of the class, because there's no worrying about can that child's face be on Twitter or not. Source analysis, we use it to compare the usefulness, reliability. The bigger the piece of the pie chart, the more reliability. This particular one was a Year 8 class that was actually comparing Tudor monarchs. And then we took the photo, we quite often do a panorama across the classroom and use that as a starting point for the next lesson. Zoom in on a particular kid, why is that particular child done that? It's anonymous, so they're quite happy to discuss about it then. But we do like pie charts for a head. And then we also have a template with the head that's just the circle, so they can draw it and stick it in their book as well. Good cop, bad cop. I have had to watch the Lego movie a lot of times in the last couple of years with my son. So we like good cop, bad cop source analysis. And we built in looking at the content, looking at the provenance, particularly GCSE, lower down the school, not necessarily those phrases, but what's good about the source, what are the limitations with the source. So Year 7 we're not doing Cuba, but doing something similar to this, looking at limitations rather than problems. So we did, this was Year 8, looking at some of the propaganda to suffragettes when we were doing a little mini unit on protests. And we were taking different sources, and then we stuck them on the classroom window so that everybody could have a look and go around and see what everybody else had put. Sorry, I know I was shooting through these. This is another idea, putting the sources into context. This came from John Mitchell, Jivespin. You may have come across him on Twitter, fabulous person to follow. And he was talking about how he puts a source and they have to put it into the context. So it's not just the source itself, it's putting it into that chunk of history. So we do the events before, the events after, and then depending on what question I've given them, they write their answer in the bottom and the little thought bubbles after about the discussion. Sometimes we do it on the board, sometimes we do it on paper. It depends on what the particular topic is and whether we want them to keep it in the book or not. We do this sometimes where it's a source relay activity. It says whole lesson, we break it into blocks. The first stage is they have a sheet with source on. 5 sheets, I have my tables set up in blocks of 3, so I have 5 desks around the room. They annotate the source, pass it on to the next table. The next table sets the questions. They pass it on to the next table who answer those students' questions. The next table mark it, and RRR is read, reflect, respond. As an all-through school, we don't use the phrase dirt because the primary school kids don't understand it, so we have RRR instead. And they approve the answer, then it comes back to the first table for them to review what they've learned that lesson. And it works quite nicely. We tend to do it at the end of the unit. So some of these were year 10 last year. And if possible, if you have different post-it notes, we use different post-it notes for the different stages. 2 last ones. Destroy source. I know that's a horrific thing, like when everybody went, because you cut up text loads. But same sort of idea really. Getting them to pick out the key part of the source I find really difficult. So sometimes we put them up and they get rid of everything that they don't need and keep the bits they do. They then delete it. So that is actually what that book looks like, but they lifted the flap up so that you could write underneath as well. And again, pulling them to pieces. Sometimes they're a little more extreme than that. Sometimes they add their own diagrams and colours on, and if it's a particular gory event, it might have blood pouring down the page. But we do that one as well. And to finish off, an oldie but goodie, copying tools, 2 pieces of card. So simple, can be used on anything. Year 7, we're doing this exact picture yesterday actually, the triumph of death, and every single pair in the room picked a different card. They then had to justify it. We went round, took pictures of all class, put them on the board because we're lucky enough to have Apple TV, displayed them, and we discussed why they picked different parts. They then included that in their blind death assessment work. And that would be everything, and I'm hoping I'm within my time.
I think you are. Well done, Carol.